Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I only have one quick announcement real quick. I'll do everything else at the end. But thank you for listening. If you can give me 5 stars, as always, on iTunes or wherever you listen. Also, May 26th, if you are in the LA area, I will be doing a ghost hunt with Ryan Singer from Paranormal Me and Paranormal You. It's $50 a ticket. We're going to be in Orange County. I'll give you more details at the end of the show. Email me if you are interested. Now, today's guest is someone that I have heard my friend demonologist Tom and Jen, who have been on the podcast, talk about forever. I have never met her in person. I am just so excited. Please welcome Salo Stanley. Salo, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here and love talking about stuff in the universe. We all kind of need that little uplifting positivity nowadays.
Oh, don't we? And you know what? I mean, there's so many things I had to narrow it down to 2 topics with you because you do so many things. Your website, which is Salo Sounds, right? SaloSounds. Wait, salosounds.com, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody, you got to go check out all the things she does, her readings and everything. But I'd love to hear, because I don't know, do you watch OA on Netflix?
OA.
It's I think I'll bring it up. Obviously you don't, if I said that, but it's for people that do. I really think the little I know about your awakening and how you kind of came into this life, it's almost that. So how did you sort of, was it 1992? I was watching all your tapes on YouTube. I was stalking you last night.
Oh, well, cool. Well, I love it. Yes, it was in 1992. Originally, I was born and raised in San Jose and kind of brought up Catholic and went to school. I really wanted to be an artist at San Jose State University, but got really sick. And my dad brought me to a psychic, which I didn't really believe in. You know, I always thought there was a little woo-woo. My dad was kind of a hippie, and
nice.
I just didn't believe in all that stuff. And when he brought me to this psychic, they said, the reason you're sick is because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in life. And I said, so, well, if you're so smart, what is that supposed to be? And they said, you're supposed to be a chiropractor. And so I said, well, heck, I'm just ready to graduate with a Bachelor of Arts degree at San Jose State and going back to chiropractic school. Oh, my gosh, that's going to take so long. And they said, well, what else you got to do? And I thought about that. What else do it? That was such a good question. And so I thought, well, I'll go take some classes. And if I pass the math, I'll, see how it goes. And before I knew it, after 2 years, I got my pre-med, was accepted at chiropractic school, and was drawn to Fresno, California for my internship. So I, graduated, started my practice in Fresno, and then one of my clients kept on telling me about a crystal healer here in Fresno that was really good and that I should go see her. And I said, oh, I don't believe in all that woo-woo stuff, and it's kind of crazy, and I don't know if I feel comfortable. And so for 9 months, she bugged me about it. And so finally I said, I'll just go just to get you off my back about it. So I do. I go in her office. She has some wonderful music playing, some crystal bowls and crystals all over the place. She told me to lay down on a massage table, and she started laying crystals on my forehead. And at the time I didn't know they were called chakras and things, but she laid crystals from the top of my head all the way. She started getting to my heart area, and right when she placed those crystals on my heart, it felt like it was really strange. I had this feeling like I was expanding sideways, this energy. And I actually physically heard a pop in my head. And when I heard that pop in my head, it was the first time I actually heard my guides and angels talk with me. And of course, now I know that it's called clairaudience. At the time, I thought maybe I was schizophrenic, but
that's what people think. But wonderful. Oh my God.
Yeah, so it was just really strange. But they started telling me, "Oh, we're so happy to get through." They said they've been with me since I was a kid, and that my pineal gland opened up, and they were so happy for me to be on this journey now, and they had contact, and I didn't know what the heck they were saying, and all of a sudden I started spiritually reading for the lady that was working on me. I said, "Oh, you have some relationships things going on, and that's because of a past lifetime and everything." And so she goes, "Well, that's true. How do you know?" I got these people talking to me in my head. Isn't this part of the treatment? And she said, "No, I've been doing this for 20 years. This has never happened with a client."
and I have to ask you real quick, when you were hearing it, like I sort of know the difference, but for my listeners, sometimes they think clairaudient is like another person standing next to you, or is it like really a voice in your head, like there's a conversation going on?
To me, the voice in my head in the early days was more of, like when you think about, you come to a stop sign and all of a sudden you start to go and you hear that little voice that says, "Don't go." And then somebody runs that stop sign and you were going to get in a car accident.
Right.
It's that second little voice, but the second little voice is talking quite extensively, and saying things that you don't say, because my first guide was named Ishmet, was a little guy from India, which I didn't know anything about, Buddhism, anything Hinduism, and he would just go and tell me everything about the universe. He would just say, the isness of one's beingness is in one's own totality, and things like that. And I'm like, I won't even know what that means.
Yeah, bring it down a little bit, Ishmet.
Yeah, like turn the volume down a bit, but he was my first guide. And then as I've gotten older, since the experience in 1992, it's more like a group consciousness. I mean, as I evolve, my guides and angels have evolved. I've graduated and gotten more different, a sense of a unity consciousness going on with a group of individuals that I feel their presence and I feel them speaking. And sometimes I'll get if I need a subject on something, like if I'm going, and I know it sounds crazy, but if I'm going to go take a drum lesson and I just don't really quite can't get it, I'll just bring in the musicians or something, divas, and guides and angels to help me with a certain situation. If I really need to be grounded and take care of my business and banking, I go, "Hey, I'm not really grounded. This is not a good subject. Can I, get some of those guides going here?" So it became more of a group consciousness, and also different categories and science and technology, and it became infinite. It became very focused when I first had my awakening. But then as I learned things, they would tell me, "Oh, this year you're going to learn numerology. Next year you're going to learn astrology. The next year you're going to learn about Native American studies and the four ways. Next year you're going to learn about Peru and Machu Picchu, and we want you to travel there and play your flute," and all sorts of things with education and stuff. So it's really been a vast experience. But going back to that table, I did my first reading. She said it would probably go away, but it never did.
Wow. Not if you heard the pop, because that sounds like a switch went on.
Yeah, actually what they told me years later when I was reading online about the pineal gland, it is actually a crystalline structure that sits in water. And when the pineal gland does really get activated, or if there's calcium deposits around there can actually be, when a kundalini rising happens, an actual physical pop in the center of your head.
Fascinating. And I have a weird question, but let's hold our place in that story, because the universe is changing so quickly now. And people really, I feel like they are having their awakening. I have a new thing that I cannot tell. It sounds so strange, but I don't know if I'm hearing a Wi-Fi or I'm getting information. But in my ear, I looked up tinnitus. I don't think it's tinnitus, but it's like a little like there's a little beeping that goes on in my ear, especially when I wake up. Does that sound familiar or ring a bell
yes,
with you?
Yes, my guides have always said it's usually a download of information in the frequency of the universe. There is a frequency tone that is happening from the center of the Milky Way galaxy, which is done in the key of C sharp, and the ancient yogis knew that. They did a lot of their mantras in C and C sharp, a lot of their raga music, and also my tuning forks we'll talk about later are in the frequency of 136.10 hertz, because also, when I was on that table, my guides and angels said, you got to remember this. Everything in the universe is color, light, vibration, and sound. So when you hear a little beep beep or a tone or a frequency, it really is, you're really tuning into other worlds, because these other worlds are radio stations that you're tuning into. That's the same like when you go ghost hunting. It's for the fact that you are actually changing the frequency, finding that radio station to make contact with, spirits. And from that, the reason my guides have told me that people go at nighttime is because around 3:00 in the morning is when humans' pineal gland is more active. They are more psychic, they're more intuitive, and that's why they're always going to generate more of a contact with the spirits, more than us thinking that the spirits are more active at 3. No, we are more active at 3:00 in the morning to hear them.
That's what I always thought, because I know people like to make that a woo-woo thing, like, oh, it's the devil's hour because Jesus was born at or crucified at 3, or there's some sort of a thing there. And I agree with you. It's also quiet then.
Well, yeah, it's quiet. There's less, mass consciousness going on. Everybody goes into dream time and in a different state. So it's easier for us with less interference to open up our pineal gland and be more receptive to the information that's coming through. And so more and more people will be hearing tones and frequencies. And also, of course, fluorescent lights in stores like Target or Walmart have a certain frequency that some people that are very sensitive to can actually hear. And, Nikola Tesla actually wanted to have a different cycle per second with his light features, and would have been more healthy for our body. But Edison kind of won out on that.
Right. Well, there's kind of a weird thing too. Like I read tarot cards, and that's sort of my modality, but I feel so many other things opening up. And someone told me about Russian Shugnite that gets rid of radiation or absorbs radiation or something.
Yes.
And just recently I've been like, I can feel, I'll start grabbing at my chest, I'll start tapping on it. Like, you need to get that now. Like you need to have that on you now. Like it's a very intuitive. Oh, see, we're already off on 1,000 topics. And okay. So
we'll get back to that, talking about the frequency also of orgone and artwork and stuff that I do. But just going back to that table. So I left kind of woo-woo, went to a crystal store there and bought myself my first crystal, an amethyst, because my guides told me to go get one. Went home to my boyfriend of 10 years, and he was sitting there reading the paper. And I said, do you mind if I looked at him and said, I don't know who you are. I had a blank, like, who am I living with? Where do I live? Are these my clothes? Totally felt very disembodied from the life that was there, and memories were there, but it was like I felt like a very new person. And I asked him, do you mind if I leave? And he says, no, you can leave anytime you want. He was reading the paper. So I called up my broker that sold us our house, asked if he could find me a house. I found a house in a week. Put a bid on it, moved in with my sister for 30 days during escrow, and never turned back.
See, and that's the part. Did you, like sometimes in paranormal stuff, we talk about a walk-on. Is that, like, I feel like you shifted reality or a dimension there. Am I way off? Or that's kind of what the show is about. And I thought you're the only person I've ever heard of that was literally aware of it.
Well, there is a thing through on the internet that you can read about. Ruth Montgomery was probably one of the first early pioneers talking about walk-ins or soul exchanges way back in the 70s. And, and a walk-in is a spirit with a consciousness, or star seed, or whatever you want to call it. It could be galactic. It could be just a wise being that has come from other universes, or higher frequency dimensions that actually want to. There is a thing, just like on Star Trek, you cannot be involved with the civilization here unless you are part of it, and that's either being born through it, incarnated through the womb, or actually having what we call soul exchange. And it is an agreement between two individuals. For example, an individual that is feels like their life has ended, or they had this agreement, I'll do the first 36 years of life, and then you can do the next 36 years, because the soul does not want to go through the baby and the walking and all that, because they have a soul mission to help raise the vibration, or a purpose to help this planet evolve into the new age of Aquarius that is happening right now. It's a very, very prominent time. And so it usually is, it's not a demonic exchange or anything like that. It is an agreement, a contract, and a soul exchange. And so at the time when it happened, I know I felt really, really different when I was hearing my guides and angels. And what happened was, after I left my boyfriend, I actually dumped all her clothes. The original occupant's name was Melinda, and sold her car because I just can't drive that car. She had a sports car. She wore Gucci shoes and suits and skirts, and I just bought a truck and wore jeans and a t-shirt to work, and she would wear everything that was like a model, and she had her hair really.
Yeah.
Yes, because she was a chiropractor, and I'm like, well, I remember going in the room the first time and saying, geez, I don't know what to do with this patient. But I had the memories of how to adjust, but it wasn't where my heart was. There was other things more like she had a lot of instruments to examine the spine. And as soon as I walked in the room, I knew where the problem was. I didn't even have to use the instruments.
Okay. Can I throw in my weird theory about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know how when someone gets a heart transplant, the person that had the heart, that say they loved French fries, and now the new person that gets the heart suddenly loves French fries.
Yes. The DNA. Yes, the DNA is there. The memories are in the heart, and the memories are still in the body diva. It's like we're just consciousness. And so her consciousness got lifted up and out, and my consciousness got inserted in.
And you got her memories that you needed.
Exactly. And the thing is, I don't really talk a lot about, being a walk-in with a lot of my patients and stuff. In the early days I did, but it kind of weirded people out. And so my guide said there's this thing about sometimes people feeling separate from someone that may be so foreign to them that it really doesn't matter. It's just about changing the consciousness of the planet and helping the frequency get raised, and to aid and assist people with answering questions and being a service to others. And so I've been doing more of that over the years, and mentioning that it was a walk-in experience. And the way I found out was that my guides and angels, one day I was in bed and they were telling me about, do you realize what happened that day? Some people think it's a premature release of the Kundalini. No, we had the reason that you feel so different is because it was a walk-in experience. And I remember asking my dad about it, and he sent me one of his friends from United Airlines who was an engineer, but also who was a psychic, and he did psychic counseling. And when he said, I have a vacation, I can come down and help you with this. You just don't know how to use the tools as a psychic and what happened to you. And then when I opened the hotel room door to meet him, he looked at me, he says, oh my God, I think you're walk-in.
Wow.
And I said, well, what does that mean? And he goes, well, it means like in the soul exchange. And then when he said that, it was like a bell that went off in my head, like a gong. And, and then I got goosebumps, when someone says something, it just really hits you between the eyes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because at that time I still had fragments of her in there that wasn't totally lifted up and out. And so luckily the universe sent me to a lot of really good healers that aided and assisted me with my transition, how to bubble my energy, how to use my psychic abilities, how to have discernment, how to reel in and balance everything, and have this education until finally in 1998, December of 1998, my guides and angels said, okay, you've learned a lot now. Instead of you being the student, you're fully integrated. Now you be the teacher. Go out and be who you are without being, held back. Just accept it and love it. And so, it has been quite a journey. It was really difficult the first time I bought the house because I didn't buy any furniture because I didn't know you were supposed to have furniture. I didn't know you were supposed to put pictures on the wall. And my friends would come over and they would sit on the floor. And I just had a stereo with records and things I didn't really have because I like music. And so it was finally my friend said, you need to have chairs and pictures. So I did. I went to the thrift store, and when they came in, they said it looked like a Motel 6,
That's, if you could see my apartment right now, you'd be like, Karen still doesn't know you need furniture. And before we go to the break, because this is just so fascinating, I have to say one thing, and I mean this in a positive way. I don't mean it to sound sarcastic, but I'm glad United Airlines has a psychic on staff.
Yes.
That sounds very comforting to me. But we're going to take a break and just come right back. Hey, you guys, looking for a great book? Never Give In to Fear, Laughing All the Way Up from Rock Bottom is the National Indie Excellence Award winner. This critically acclaimed, funny and dramatic memoir describes an emerging stand-up comic's drug-fueled descent into the underworld, escape from human traffickers, homelessness, and ultimate redemption. I promise you guys, this is going to be a movie someday as one of the most inspiring stories I've ever heard. And after I read the book, I bought 20 copies and I sent it to my friends, who then bought 20 copies and sent it to their friends. And if you have not yet karmically received your copy, go to martymac.com and order Never Give In to Fear. I cannot say enough things. You guys know. I don't read. I read this book. I picked it up. I could not put it down. Never Give In to Fear, Laughing All the Way Up from Rock Bottom at martymac.com. martymac.com. Okay, so we got to where we left off. They told you no longer the student, now you're the teacher. Wow.
Yes, and so I went to Sedona a lot to ground in a lot of my energies. I didn't even know where it was at, but they would tell me certain areas to visit, Mount Shasta and Sedona. And so there that was the first time I had a dream before I went to Sedona of a Native American that was eating at the Coffee Pot restaurant. And he was carrying a pipe, and he was the keeper of the pipe for his tribe. And it was such one of those vivid dreams that it didn't seem like a dream. It was very, very surreal and very, vivid. And so a week later, I went to Sedona and I was eating at the Coffee Pot restaurant with my friends. And sure enough, there was the Native American that was in my dream. Wow. And I said, oh my gosh. And I told my friends about it. And they said, well, go up and talk to him. I go, no, he might think I'm some weird person, And so he got up to pay the check. And I don't know, it was if my guides and angels pushed me out of the chair, and I ran after him in the parking lot. And before I could tap him on the shoulder, he turned around and he said, boo. He says, young lady, I can feel your energy coming a mile away. What's up? And I says, well, I know it's strange, but I had a dream about you last week, and they told me that you were the keeper of the pipe. And he lifted it up. He goes, well, I am. How do you know that? I said, from the dream. He says, well, if you know that, we take our dreams very seriously in our tribe. And so he told me how he got in a car accident a month earlier. And I thought, oh, well, maybe spirit, I'm a chiropractor. Maybe I can adjust your back. I went back to his home. I examined him. I adjusted his back. He felt better. And he says, I want to gift you with something, and I want to gift you with a song. And so he lifted up a Native American flute, which I've never seen before. And that was so beautiful to me. And he played a song, and it was like, I was so enchanted by the sound of it that later on that day, I went up to Sedona uptown, and I saw a flute in the window. It was $100. It was made out of cedar, and I looked at it for about a good hour, and I trying to decide if I wanted to buy it. It was a lot of money. And the store owner goes, honey, if you're looking at it that hard and that long, you got the calling. And I went, what do you mean? He says, well, you got the calling. You know how to play it. And it was just the way he said it that I said, okay. So I bought it, and he says, just go out in the canyons and the rock people will show you how to play it. And I did. I went out to the canyons. I sat there at Rachel's Knoll, and I was playing the flute. I never had a lesson. I just automatically knew how to play it.
Wow.
And it just led me, when I played it, my heart opened, and I just loved going up on these hikes in Sedona, really high up, and seeing people come up the part of the mountain there to the top of like Devil's Bridge. And I would always play my flute, and then as soon as they got to the top, I would hide behind a tree, and they would all go, "Where was that music coming from?"
A little metaphysical fun.
Yes. Yes. So it just led me from one journey to the next with my guides, going to Machu Picchu, and I've been to Thailand and all sorts of adventures in the universe. So life became different, and I was shortly after that, I was introduced to sound therapy after I found the Native American flute. I hurt my knee at a workshop, and I wasn't able to work for a year being a chiropractor. And they kept on telling me I should be doing something else. And they said, now that we have your attention that you're laying on your back and you can't walk, we want you to do sound. And I didn't know anything about it, looked it up, took a seminar from Jonathan Goldman, fell in love with the tuning forks, and started using it in my practice, and my patients started getting better faster than just adjusting them. Using sound was amazing. And I was really unhappy with a lot of the tuning forks I was using over the years, so I decided about 20 years ago to design my own tuning forks, which I have been doing for 20 years. They're made in Germany to a special frequency of 136.10 hertz, which is the center of the Milky Way galaxy that's emitting this frequency to raise our vibration to be the true divinity and divine light that we are right now. It shakes away the stress, the anxiety, any type of, dysfunction or imbalance in the body. And when you apply the tuning forks on acupuncture points, oh my gosh, we're 80% water. Think about it. That vibration going and shaking that water in our body, you can't help but feel better. It's just amazing stuff.
Yeah, and it's so funny because my friend Natalie had a near-death experience, and she sort of ended up in the Matrix. And for people, they probably heard Natalie Gray on the podcast. And one of the first pieces of information, she came out with all this information. The first thing she said was, everything can be healed with sound.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's just that one phrase that they said that I never forgot the day I was on that crystal healing table. Everything in the universe is color, light, vibration, and sound. When you think about it, we're in a hologram right now, a matrix of a hologram of frequencies and color and light, and everything is a musical note. And when I work on someone with sound, we are actually bringing back the sounding note of their soul, my guides say.
Wow. And when you do, cause I love singing bowls. I have them in my house. When I used to do Reiki, I would always use the singing bowls. Can people do these healings themselves? Could they go to your website
Yes.
and buy and they could just take care of themselves with them?
Yes, you can do a tuning forks on your body yourself. You can get a little crystal bowl off of eBay. I always recommend getting a heart chakra bowl, which is in a key of F. And you can get one as little as $62 free shipping, an 8-inch heart chakra bowl to get started. You don't have to buy the whole sets for, hundreds of dollars. And, and you can just play that bowl, and it clears all your energies, the causal, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, etheric, astral, electromagnetic, and all frequencies on all levels and all dimensions, just with that one little crystal bowl.
And also, folks, if you've never been to a sound bath, they're amazing, where somebody plays the gongs and the whole thing. And those always seem just, I can't get enough of those. Those always feel so healing. All right. So you start with heart chakra in the key of F. All right.
Yeah, that's just a really nice, good bowl to start with. And, and then eventually you can get all the chakra bowls you want from different chakras at different notes. The first sacral chakra, which is red, is in the key of C. And then the second sacral chakra, which is orange, is in D. The solar plexus is E, the heart is F, and then there's a higher heart. There's like different frequencies and layers of the heart. So there's, F sharp is a higher frequency of the heart. In fact, they've done research around the pyramids in Giza, and they found that the frequency of the radius of the perimeter of all the Giza pyramids are in the key of F sharp, and that the closest note on the planet played by F sharp is the F sharp Native American flute. Amazing, amazing.
Wow.
And even the King's Chambers, even when you go up the stairway, it is like the chords of a piano. It is a musical chamber. When you go up to the King's Chamber, the beams that are on there are different musical notes and frequencies. And the sarcophagus is actually used for initiation, where Jesus and Mary Magdalene went for their initiation, to sit in that king's sarcophagus, which is made out of granite crystals, to have an out-of-body experience, to raise their consciousness, to create that sense of ascension and everything, because there's many, many different secret tunnels underneath the pyramids there that the scenes used in the ancient age as for the ancient mystery schools to go there and do initiation. And one of these people, John Reed, he did some research in the pyramid, because when my guide said everything is color, light, vibration, and sound, and there's a thing called light language, which is symbols. And that's one of the gifts that I came with, is actually see symbols around people. And when I write these symbols or I do my art, it will change their frequency. They're getting an attunement. They are getting aligned. They are actually getting the download of their higher self to help them with their spiritual journey. And John Reed, he put saran wrap on the top of the king's sarcophagus. He played his sound machine there and put some powder on top of the saran wrap. And he thought he was just going to maybe just get random symbols like, squares and circles and things. And you know what he got? He told me, he said he got hieroglyphics. Wow. So everything is there. And if you turn the frequency on, you're going to see these symbols out there. And a lot of people that see symbols, there's it's called synesthesia. And it's amazing, amazing stuff. And so when I paint a certain color, it's a frequency for their chakra. When I put in a certain crystal in the artwork or the resin on the angel wings that I make, it creates orgone energy. When you use resin and copper wire and crystals, it just wards off the 5G Wi-Fi and electromagnetic frequencies that are negative to the body. And it creates a wonderful vibe. And so there's never, ever any fear, because that was also the second thing that my guides told me on that crystal healing table. Never, ever have fear. Everything is color, light, vibration, and sound. Never have fear. And don't take everything so seriously, my guides always told me. You don't take everything seriously, Salo. Just have ice cream.
Well, that's so interesting. So, and I want to talk about the paintings, and I want to talk about the just real quick on the equipment. So people can go to your website and buy the tuning forks, and then there's instructions how to use them. Just take care of themselves.
Yeah, if they want to go buy my tuning forks, I suggest to go to my Etsy store, Galactic Light Art. Even if you type it in on Google, Etsy, ETSY, Galactic Light Art. My website for my art will come up. And on there, my tuning forks are there. I have art prints that I do, sacred geometry and paintings that I made, wonderful little $10 prints, so people can't say, I can't afford original art. Right. Well, yes, you can. You can get a print. And I have my angel wings that are only $45 plus I think it's $11 or $12 shipping and handling in USA, but they're wonderful 10-inch wingspan. They're made on birch wood. I designed the wood. I go out and pick the wood. I take it down to my manufacturer. He cuts it out on a router, a CNC machine, on these sheets of wood. I take it back home. I sand the wings, and then I do a resin pour with resin and mica powders, and then I use a torch to light up the resin to move it, and a heat gun, and then I carefully place crystals on it and let it dry for 24 hours. And oh my gosh, the energy that comes off these little wings. I mean, if you ever feel like you need hope, or you need a dream catcher for sleeping at nighttime for those bad dreams, I tell you this stuff works, because when I started doing the wings on December 4th of last year, I ended up having I got shingles during December, and I remember my first angel wings I slept with, and I got better immediately when I had these angel wings. And I thought, oh my gosh, how powerful is this? I mean, it gives people hope. And it's almost like Bashar. He always says that anything can heal, even somebody in prison giving water to an inmate because they believe that that water will cure them. That person will get healed because everything in the universe is just a permission slip. Reiki works, massage works, pranic healing, sound healing, prayer, whatever that is, where you set your intentions, what your belief is, all of it is just a permission slip. So it's all good. It's all going to radiate to whatever your consciousness is. For me, I just happen to like sound because everything in the universe has a vibration, a radio station. I found that so intriguing and so cool. And I love the musicality of it because I love playing music, and music's very healing for the body because it just hits those higher centers. It helps us create a bridge between this world and the next, and a bridge between ourselves and our higher self, so we don't feel lonely anymore. We feel more like ourselves when we were 6 years old, looking up at the clouds, or saying, I love to draw and I love to ride my bike, and having that energy until we get programmed with the government and your parents' thinking and their beliefs and the DNA. And that's another thing, going back to the walk-in experience, I still had to clear a lot of the old beliefs, the DNA, the ancestry in here of this body that can create a little bit of havoc. But you know what? You just love it. You work with it and you integrate it. You don't toss it out, because my guide said you got to take the dark with the light to be in our totality of who we are. It's an integration. It's not a throwing away.
Right. And I'm at your Etsy site now, and actually the wings are amazing. And it says there's only 3 left. You got to make more wings.
Oh, well, I'll probably put some more on there. Well, I usually post them on Facebook. So everybody be my friend on Facebook, just Salo Stanley Facebook. I post a wing a day for sale. And because I believe that the wings have a calling for each person.
Oh, and do you do that with your paintings too, which are
yes.
And I'm looking at them, they're so fascinating. And also, what's really beautiful about them too is, they're all different. They're all so different. Your paintings. And
yes, I just kind of channel whatever, my higher self has for the moment, because I know that they go to certain people that have a resonance for them, that has a message, that has an attunement, that has a healing for them in some way, or a permission slip to allow them to be who they are, to know it's okay to be yourself and not worry by what other people think, and just know for us not to take things so seriously, to be more in the moment, to have that joy come in, to have that creativity, to put your feet in the water, to know that you are not alone. Your guides are only a whisper away. And when we do that through the clarity of your example, when you wake up to your divinity, you become enlightened. And when you have enlightenment, you become ascended. When you ascended, doesn't mean you're going to leave this body and go up to heaven or another dimension. And no means no. You bring heaven here on earth through the clarity of your example, and you help inspire others. That's how it works.
Oh, that's amazing. And I'm going to take a break real quick, and then I want to talk to you about your process of how, let me take a break. I'll be right back. I have a million more questions, so I have to organize them. Hang on a second. Who do tarot readers go for tarot readings? They go to Melissa Sanova at melissasanova.com. She gave me the best reading a couple of months ago that is still resonating and helping me out now. She is authentic and to the point. You loved her on the podcast. She is the no BS tarot reader. She also has a tarot class online right now. Check it out. Just watching the promo, you will see how much fun you are going to have while you learn. Also, check out her book, which is always right beside me when I'm doing my readings or my tarot card for me in the morning. It is called Kitchen Table Tarot, and you will love it. Melissa Sanova, that's MELISSACYNOVA. Check her out. Okay, so this is fascinating. This is great. And I really do have to say that is such a nice thing that you put up the prints for $10. So there is something here for everybody to feel better. But these wings, I'm obsessed with these wings now. Now you gave me a good reason to go back on Facebook.
Yes. Well, a lot of people say, well, I don't like Facebook and it's kind of negative and people's politics and blah, blah, blah. Well, my guys always say, technology is the wave of the future. And in a way, yes, there is some negativity in things, but in a way it has brought people back together, people that haven't found their birth mother, or maybe they lost a long lost uncle, maybe a friend from high school. And it's this kind of connection. And when we have it, it's a representative of more of a unity consciousness coming together. Yes, you're going to get the good with the bad, but what better way to be in your self-mastery, to be centered, right?
Mm-hmm.
but what better way to be in a community in a way? And so it is the wave of the future. We are going to be expanding that more. And it's just a good way for me to reach out through either Instagram or Facebook to sell the wings or any of my art. And since December 4th, I've made over 150 wings. That's how obsessed I am with making them. And it takes me, usually I'll make, 3 or 4 days, because I don't like to mass produce. I like to be able to concentrate, be present for each one. It does take time. And, but I just so like a mission that I got 150 of them out since December 4th is pretty amazing, I think.
Well, they are just gorgeous, and they look like such a great gift. And I know people, like I said, I know another artist, and I know my friend Natalie was a painter, and I keep getting, I guess this is the third time I'm hearing this message, but it's funny because when people, when I do readings and stuff, and they sort of don't know what's the process or how do you let go, I always try to start them out with at least with automatic writing, and I always tell them that they can throw it away. They might be worried what someone sees. My automatic writing, you can't even read what it says. It just looks like scribbling. But what is your process, or how would you suggest people would open up to sort of do their own paintings or stuff like that? Like, what do you do?
Well, I don't know if I have a process, because it was like, I think the process happened in 92 when I went on that crystal healing table. So it was like, it was open. It was like always there. I'm always in contact with talking with them. Or I even have an awareness when I'm dreaming. I know I'm dreaming. Right. And sometimes I'll even, once in a while, my cat or my dog will come in the dream, and I'm like, oh, and I remember, and it's just very cognizant of the dream that they jumped in. Or sometimes my partner will come in and I'll say, congratulations, you came in my dream. That took a lot of work because I know that I'm dreaming right now. So I'm going to give you a certain sentence to see if you remember dreaming about this dream, and let's see what happens. And sure enough, the next morning she may say that I had a dream. I was dreaming with you, and we were standing by this. And I go, yes, congratulations. You had an awareness of dreaming with me. And that means you're raising your vibration. Hooray. I love it. But, so I don't know what my process is, except that I just get inspired by a lot of things in life, It just becomes one constant journey, and it's like a synchronistic thing. My guides say when you have sound therapy, or you get a massage, or you go to Reiki or pranic healing, or you go to a workshop for any type of healing that floats your boat, or any type of meditation techniques, that way you raise your vibration. You are much closer with that bridge to your higher self. There is no unleashing. You become infinite. You become the infinity sign. You'll get inspired. You will know which direction you need to do. So, it starts with yourself. Like, how do you want to open yourself up? It's like, first of all, don't be so hard on yourself.
Right.
Let it go.
That's a big one. That's the biggest thing with people, period, including myself. Yes. That
inner critic is like, no, just relax. Sit in nature. That's a form of meditation. Take a hot bath. Take a walk in nature is the best thing. Get a dog or an animal. They are divine little masters. They'll tell you a lot of little things. They'll tell you the secrets of the universe, You just be surprised. I have had many wonderful conversations when I was out on the patio eating at a restaurant with a fly. They're very wise. They have a lot to say for their 2 weeks that they live or whatever. So much.
Wow. And also you, but now I'm on I have to turn off your Facebook page because I was flipping through it. I like it so much. I was like, Karen, you're doing an interview. You can't, these wings are just fabulous.
They're just so fun. I mean, and they feel good because the resin's kind of, has a mirror-like appearance to it, and it reflects light, and that's what and it brings out really bright colors in the resin powders. And that was the one thing when I started drawing again in 2012, is I was so frustrated that the colors here on planet Earth weren't as bright as I remember where I came from.
Wow.
And so resin was the closest that here on the planet. And sometimes spray paint, I'll use like hot pink or some golds to get that real brilliant colors in some of the resin pores. And it's just fun. And then I channel whatever, Crystal wants to go with these wings. And then when I post them, I channel it in that moment each morning saying these wings represent if you want to have more self-love for yourself, or healing old heart wounds, or these wings will give you more courage, or these wings, each one comes with your own personal angel that's set up to give you your downloads and connect you to your guides and angels. I love it because it's all the spur of the moment. I don't know what they have to say until the moment that I'm posting them each morning, and it just makes it like a fun adventure, whoever it gets called to.
Wow. And you also, people can get readings on your site. What kind of readings do? You do everything, right? Numerology and all kinds of stuff.
The first hour reading is on the phone, and I do them all around the world. It's an hour, and what we do is we go over your numerology, what your life path number is, your self-expression, the day that you're born, the year you're born, and also your personal year for 2019, 2020, and 2021. Then we also go over 4 phases of your life that are ruled by pentacles or numbers or vibration, because, everything is vibration. The person that came up with numerology was Pythagoras. He was a wonderful mathematician. He believed that numbers have a vibration and a healing to it. So he was a good master on that. And then we go over to the astrological chart. We talk about the rising sign, where the moon is, the different houses, and we talk about the north node, which is like the finger of God pointing to their chart saying, this is why you came here to planet Earth. This is your spiritual purpose. Oh my gosh, that is so important. I can hear the bells go off when I start reading that for someone. They're like, wow. It is so helpful, and it's so jam-packed. The last 10 minutes are questions and answers, whatever you want to ask with my guides, is jam-packed. And once we're done with that hour reading, then I do follow-up half-hour readings for people if they're like having to move, a new job, career, they're getting married, maybe they want to know a number for a city. Is that vibration good for them? How does their chart look? What's going on? Are they having a Saturn returns? Whatever that. I'm here to be a guide. And I also tell everybody, I'm just sending you information. I am not healing you. I always tell people, if you get healed, it's your own darn fault. So,
And do you have a feeling on, like, if I was to say to you, oh, I moved to, New Orleans and it was a big mistake. There aren't really mistakes. Am I right? Or do you think there are?
I don't think so. I think we're all divinely guided in some way. When something does feel like a mistake, sometimes my guides are saying right now, there are consequences to certain things that we make decisions about, but then that's how we learn. So they're not really mistakes, they're consequences too. We have to have discernment. And that's the other thing that they were also bringing up. It's not about being, totally all spiritual and la and this and that, and like, oh, whatever, I'll just go with the flow. And well, no, you need to also make very good decisions.
Right. Somebody's got to run the bank.
You got to have that groundedness in order to have the combination of the totality of who we are, of actually making a good decision. Yes, it's going to take some money, so maybe I better save some money, not be a victim to say I can't do it. No, organize things, but also you can still have those higher centers of tuning in. And when we blend both, we become the infinity sign. That's what it's about. It's not one or the other.
Wow. And when we, and also if we're trying to save up to move, just ask for assistance. Say, hey, can you help me bring in more money so that I can move?
And you can bring in your guides and angels that are really good with the money stuff. They have whatever category they want. Say, hey, send me that, and the thing is too, if you do want more money, what we're really asking for is divine freedom in life. Everybody's asking for that. So what I do is I actually take, money and freedom off of everyone and everything external to the external world, or sometimes even my guides and angels. And I bring freedom and money off everyone and everything, and I bring it back to myself. I bring it back to my divine line. And my spirit line goes in the center, in front of my spine. Okay. Our spirit goes down the center of our spine. It's a beam of light. But our consciousness and our spirit is an inch in front of the spine. And so I asked to bring in freedom and resources and money to the front of my spine, and also down the center of my spine with my body diva, because the body diva is the horse that we're riding, and we're the rider, which is our higher self, our consciousness. And then we have our team of guides and angels that are just a breath away, surrounding us all the time. So then I'll ask them to bring it, that freedom and that money, and to model right energy for me so I can do it. So that way they're not taking karma of doing it for me or anything like that. They're modeling right energy. Through the clarity of their example, they're holding sacred space. And then I pick it up and I feel it and I learn and I know how to do it. And I become autonomous, and a self-empowered being of light, if that makes sense. I become this sense of being a co-creator instead of codependent, if that makes sense.
Not only does that make sense, it's interesting. I love that you use the word freedom, because most people would use the word security, which is not even a real thing, I don't believe.
Yes, sometimes people like to have delusion of security, but it's okay to say that, my guides are saying, or use the word safety. Because it's okay to feel safe, because when we're safe, that means all our bills are paid.
Right.
And when we're safe, we have our health. And when we're safe, we're in the right place at the right time, divine timing. So it's okay to say that, because words really mean more than one thing. That's what light language is. But in the United States, the English language, one word just means one thing. But if you go outside the country, one word can mean many things. In France or in China and Chinese, one word, just the way you pronounce it, can also mean a couple different inflections. Different means many different things.
Right.
And so where we originally come from is the stars. We're all stardust. We all come from the stars. And a lot of us sometimes just are connected more in the incarnational cycle of planet Earth. And some people are starseeds that decide to come and be incarnated to help change the planet. Some are walk-ins, some are wanderers, some are ETs that are just on the outside of the planet holding sacred space for us to aid and assist with evolutionary state of our beingness at this time.
Now, when you, and because I find that interesting, so because you just said, because now my guides, so you just are actually communicating with your guides all the time. It's like secondhand now.
Yes, ever since that day in 1992. So it's difficult for me. It's only from my personal experience to say, how do I do the process of creating? Because I always felt infinitely creative on anything I had an interest in since that moment. If I wanted to, like, I can give an example. In 2012, my friend Alea said, I think you should draw again. And I said, wow, I haven't drawn since I was 24 years old. And that's why I originally went to school, to be an artist. And so I did. And when I did that, I'm like, wow, this is really fun. So I had to learn to draw. And then I started doing mandalas. And then I started painting the mandalas on canvases. And then I started getting more paints. And then it just evolved. And then pretty soon, people wanted to see them. And I didn't have a good camera to take pictures of my art. So then I got a real big professional camera. And I took it to take my art until I had an art gallery show. They said, oh, we want 14 pieces and you only have 10. And so my girlfriend said, well, why don't you just take a couple of those photographs that you took at this Kings Canyon sequoia trees and make prints of them and frame them and put those up as artwork? And I said, okay. And so then when I did that, my photography sold at the art store, at the art gallery, not my art. So then I entered my photography in art shows, and I won first prize 4 years in a row. And I'm like, what the heck was that? I didn't even try, and I wasn't really putting my intention there. It was just kind of flowed, So then I went, oh, okay. And so then I had an interest in different things with photography. And then just one thing led to another. So then when I went to an art gallery, I saw the first time a resin piece of artwork. And I was so fascinated by the reflections of light. I asked the artist, how do you do this? And he said he was going to teach a class. And then he got so busy, he never got around to it. So I thought, well, I'm not going to be a victim and not learn. So I got on YouTube and I taught myself.
Wow.
And then I started doing resin on my mandalas. And so it gave a nice reflective quality. And then one day I was at Target and I saw a wood Day of the Dead skull. And I said, I can pour that resin on that Day of the Dead skull. And then from there, I thought, no, wait a minute. I can draw my own Day of the Dead skull in wood and pour resin. And then I can make my own wings. That wing idea came up at Christmas time and, in December. And I'm like, oh, my God. So it just evolved. You never know because you're just open to the universe with your intuition, your psychic abilities. It's that same openness you felt when you were 3 years old. Didn't you think about a tree or a leaf or the days were really long or looking at a snail cross across the sidewalk? Wasn't it just a wonderment? And it just led from one thing to the next, to the next. There was like no intention about it. It was just like the sense of wonderment and excitement. And it just led the synchronistic flow. And I think when we have our chakras balanced and we are dropping that facade of, feeling intimidated by things or thinking you're not good enough and loving ourselves more, when we open that up, the flow begins to happen. The pineal gland opens. We create an awakening. We become infinite creators no matter where you want to be, through cooking, through photography, through painting, through writing. You just got to learn to just accept who you are and to know that it's okay. And when you do that, it begins to emerge.
And another thing, and this is very interesting, but I want to, it's a weird offshoot, but I want to present this topic. And again, I'm going to say, you've said no fear, which I think is do it with no fear, is now there's a lot of rumblings, that's a positive word, about 5G. And we talked about the crystal and you're talking about your artwork. And it's very interesting because to put that in perspective, the 5G is now something people are worried about for radiation or vibrations, correct?
Yes, but my guides are saying no fear. The reason is humans here have an unlimited amount of DNA changing, more than a lot of the other planets out there. Okay, they can adapt to radiation. They can adapt to GMO foods. They can adapt to everything. And a lot of the negative entities on the planet don't want people to realize that. They don't want them to realize the potentiality of the divine being of light and consciousness. It's almost like the movie, that woman movie, Captain Marvel. All right. If anybody hasn't seen it, I really highly recommend it. She has this implant. She goes to this planet. They program a lot of her thoughts and things. But in the end, she realizes what her true potential is, and she's infinite. And a lot of people want to suppress that with humans because humans are the ones that can turn it around, can manifest that light, and they can absorb that radiation, but they also have the potentiality of healing it, raising their frequency and not even be touched by it.
So raising your frequency and bypassing it. What a great. Okay. And I've taken up way too much of your time, but can you give people advice on how they can raise their frequency?
Through giving things that give them joy, by being the creator, whatever floats your boat. Follow your highest excitement, as Bashar says. That is one of the wonderful keys and wisdom that he has given, is follow your highest excitement in the moment. If you want to go to the movies, then go to the movies that day. If you want to sit at home and take a hot bath and read a book, do that. Follow your highest excitement. Do for yourself first to take, good care of sleeping and getting plenty of exercise and water and, whatever you need to do for that. And then when you do that, and you can say yes to the things you want to do to help someone and no to the things you don't want to do. Sometimes we love being of service to others that it just draws us into this wonderful mud ditch that we start, feeling really muddy, really tired and drained, is because we're giving so much of ourselves and we're giving our gifts away rather than taking care of ourselves first. And then we have more to give to humanity. through the clarity. For example, a lot of times I get parents to say, how do I help my children? By you helping yourself. Because if you love yourself and you tell them, I need to take a nap or I need to do this, what you're doing is you're showing your children how to love themselves. But when you do things for them and you leave yourself last as a second-class citizen, you're showing them how not to love themselves, and it perpetuates the ancestry.
Wow.
Right? So when we do that and create, and yes, you can do yoga and you can do massage and do whatever you want. And heck, if you want to, you can, my guides have always said, if you want to be a Buddha and have a donut too, you can. You can. It's a balance, It's a balance in the universe. You can have it all. You just have to believe in yourself. And the word belief means just be and live in the moment, but don't live the lie, because the word lie is in believe. Wow. So just be, B-E, and then the word live is in believe, L-I-V-E, just be and live. And don't live the lie. That's through the government, through your teachers, through your parents, ancestrally, whatever that is. You have the answers within. Don't give your power away to others. You are a self-empowered being of light, and a lot of people out there of the negative entities don't want you to know that. So no fear with 5G. We'll go into 6G in 2024, and my guides say possibly we may have some free internet going on, but you know what? Our body's going to adapt, and then you can have tools. Orgone energy is great. Those little pyramids with crystals. My artwork has some great things because I got this from the universe. I have a memory from 2 universes away of how to help all of us, through the clarity of my example, help others by being a service to others and giving this art. Because people that are not awake, I can give them a piece of artwork. Everybody likes wings. Everybody likes angels. And I can just say, isn't it pretty? Or I can say for someone who's more awake and off the matrix, wow, this has orgone energy. It has hematite for grounding. It has amethyst for self-love and any of those addictions. It has the color pink for self-love and compassion for yourself. It has the blue for clearing and connecting to your guides and angels. I can say that to them, or I can say it to someone else. Isn't it pretty?
But either way, you give such a great message. Oh my God, I'm so happy to meet you, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I so appreciate it, Karen.
I hope you will come back again. And it's Salo Sounds, SALOSOUNDS. .com. And folks, go to the Etsy page. I can't stop looking at these wings. I think I know what everyone's getting for their birthday this year. They are just gorgeous.
Yeah, Etsy Galactic Light Art, or Be My Friend on Facebook. It's under Salo Stanley. So be my friend, and also on Instagram, Salo Stanley.
Yeah, and do you have anything else coming up that you want people to know about? Any I don't know, seminars or classes or anything, or pretty much they can all find it at your website?
They can, if they're on Facebook, I always make announcements. So I'll probably be doing a sound healing class online in the next couple of months. I still have some tuning forks on for sale and everything. They are a little pricey, but you know what? They're really, really well worth it. I hardly make any money on it, but I got acupuncturists all around the world that love it because it doesn't lose its tune. It really keeps its frequency really nice. So, and I'm also do Facebook Live a lot, at least once a week. I do card readings live. I talk about Mercury retrograde, astrology, what's going on. I try to uplift people to know that there is positivity out there and to know that they're not alone.
Well, thank you so much. Oh, I already feel positive. I'm all ready to go out and conquer the world. I am.
Awesome.
Salosounds.com. Everybody, thanks for listening to the podcast. Again, if you can leave me a review, that would be great. May 26th, if you're in Orange County, is actually where the ghost hunt is going to be with Ryan Singer. You can shoot me off an email and I will give you details. And thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Oh, Salo, that was so wonderful.
Well, I hope you had fun.
Always, always. And I just, your whole story blows me away. Not only would I love to have you on another time, but if you ever have anything that you want me to announce or put out there, just let me know on Facebook and I'll get it out to the folks. But you're just wonderful.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. It was so much fun and stuff. And hopefully we inspired some people out there today too.
I hope so. I have a really neat fan base. I guess it's not a fan base, but it's kind of millennials that aren't really sure yet. And I get a lot of emails from them, and I know they're just going to love you.
Oh, cool. That would be so much fun.
And your message, and they'll get so that's fantastic. Well, all right, well, thank you. I've already taken up enough of your time. That was wonderful.
Oh, okay. And do you know, you're going to send me a link when it gets on the broadcast so I can share it on Facebook? Or
Absolutely. I'll tag you on Facebook, and I'll send it through the message too, so you can get it out there if you like. But it's just I'm blown away. I already feel better.
Oh, good. Well, and if you ever have any questions on Facebook real quick or anything, just Facebook Messenger me. I'm more than happy to answer them for you.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much for taking your time today.
All right. You too. And you have an awesome weekend. Okay.
You too. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.